First things first, good things to go with drinks. These are flaky cheese biscuits, sort of upmarket cheese straws. Then some blinis. I've topped this one with smoked salmon and dill, and this one's with mock caviar. Then these crisp biscuits are with paprika and parmesan, topped with a cashew nut. These are mini quiches, and then herb cheese toasts, and then more of the same kind. I've made a selection of 5. There's really not worth making more than that. No one can remember, and also it's far more work than for you. Then to decorate the tray, I've got a little bunch of herbs here, which are sort of in season. But if it's Christmas time, how about perhaps a sprig of holly with those gleaming red berries, and in summer, a full bloom rose with the leaf curling round. And now production line blinis. Make big blinis rather than little tiny ones, which are so time consuming, and simply stamp them out. So you can freeze them in this state and then thaw them, and all you've got to do is just stamp them out like this. It's quite quick. You can do them and top them with sour cream and smoked salmon and whatever about 2 hours ahead, and it's really so much quicker. And next, a first course using Filo pastry with a stuffing packed with flavour. Heat a tablespoonful of oil with 25 grams of butter, add 2 to 5 grams of fresh young spinach, and cook over a high heat for 3 to 4 minutes. Season with salt, pepper and freshly grated nutmeg. Leave to cool for later. Add a little more butter to the pan, some lemon juice and garlic, and then 100 grams of sliced shiitake mushrooms. Cook over a fairly high heat until most of the pan juices have evaporated. Season. Lay out 1 sheet of Filo pastry, cut into a square about 15 centimetres. You'll need 8 squares, but it doesn't matter about cutting the squares too precisely. Brush with melted butter, first on one side and then the other. Put a layer of spinach in the centre of each square, then a pile of mushrooms, then finally a teaspoonful of fresh, soft goat's cheese. Then bring the edges of the Filo pastry up around the filling so it looks like a little purse or knapsack. Does that remind you of Dick Whittington? Arrange the 8 parcels on a greased baking tray and cook in a preheated oven at 200 degrees centigrade for about 10 minutes. Roasted red peppers are wonderful in the summer with a barbecue, but how about roasted red pepper soup at the end of the year? It's well worth trying. For anyone who's never grilled peppers before, the results can look a bit extreme. Let me reassure you, you will end up with a good, well-flavoured soup. All this blackened skin actually goes into the soup. Then the pieces of pepper, the blackened skins and the juices are simmered gently in a stock made from onion, garlic, tomatoes and chicken stock. The soup is then processed and sieved. Then the special secret of this soup's deep flavour is the dark syrup made from 4 teaspoonfuls of sugar and 4 teaspoons of balsamic vinegar. As the sugar melts and becomes a syrup, add some of the hot soup to the syrup in the pan to stop the cooking. Mix, then stir it into the rest of the soup. Roasted red pepper soup. Serve with garlic croutons sprinkled with Parmesan cheese. And now collective place, specially invented for this programme, and a main course idea. You take 8 fillets of plaice without any skin and without any bone, and then when you get them home from the fishmongers or the supermarket, just take off any little bits around the outside, because I'm going to use that trimming for a nice filling. Just take this, snip those little bits off. And you may find there's bits of dark skin, take those off too. And then I'm going to make the filling next. I'm going to put a filling and then the other fillet on top. So take the little trimmings here and put them into the processor, or you could chop them finely. Then I'm going to add cream cheese. This can be low-fat cream cheese. Here it goes. Then I'm going to put a little pepper and salt in with that. And I'm going to process that for a few moments with an egg yolk. And it's the egg yolk that binds it and keeps it together. So I'll process that just for a few moments. Now that's chopped up the fish a little. Then add prawns, and in they go, and chives. And that's about 1½ tablespoons of snipped chives and 75 grams of prawns. Put that on, just blend it. That's just enough. I don't want to chop up all those prawns so people don't know they're in there. And then I'm going to take that mixture out and fill the paste fillet with it. So just scrape the knife first and then take out the filling. If you don't like prawns, you could always leave them out and perhaps put crab in instead, or add some mushrooms at the end that have been sautéed in butter. That's it. Then I'm going to divide that mixture into 4 because I've got 4 fillets. So I shall take 1/4 of that and put it on top of one of the fillets I've got here. So take that. And it's a lovely, rich mixture, no breadcrumbs in it, so very light. And then, to put the last fillet on, make an incision so that that will peek through the incision. So make an incision right down the centre here and sort of open it out. Nice sharp pointed knife. That's it. Then put that on top, and it really does look very smart. And you can prepare this ahead and leave it in the fridge, or if it's fresh fish and fresh prawns, you can put it in the freezer and wrap them individually and keep them till you need them. Thaw them before you actually cook them. So these prawns have been taken from the 75 grams. Then I'm going to just brush it over with a little butter, and then I'm going to cook it, and it takes a short time cooking, 200 degrees centigrade. That's gas number 6, or in the Aga grid shelf on the floor of the roasting oven, and you know when it's done because it is opaque, but just about 10 minutes.
Colette of Place, a trouble-free dinner party dish. I found a way to serve vegetables that makes life much easier. These were prepared ahead just like this. Then the next day reheated quickly. See, they've kept their colour and the flavour too. Choose vegetables that are in season. Cook each one separately in boiling salted water till just done. Refresh in cold water. Carrots, for instance, need just 2 minutes before you refresh and drain them really well. Add them to a large buttered oven-proof platter, cover with foil. This is the stage that you can put it into the fridge. Then you give the platter a burst in a hot oven for about 20 minutes while you're eating the first course, whip off the foil and serve.
And now I'm back to sticky cakes, a lovely hazelnut meringue. The best way to make meringues, for this size, for 2 of these, you need 6 egg whites, and you put them into a clean bowl, a nice big one, and you whisk it until it looks like cloud, either with a rotary whisk or a mixer, or if you're using a balloon whisk, choose a big bowl. Whisk and then add the sugar little by little, and you'll need 375 grams of caster sugar, and just little at a time, and whisk it on full speed until it looks this lovely snowy white colour and holds its shape. Then, to make it a bit squidgy in the middle, like a pavlova, you want to blend a teaspoonful of white wine vinegar with a teaspoonful of corn flour, and then just blend that into the meringue mixture. Then spread it out onto silicone paper, or I've got Lift Off, which is a graphite non-stick reusable surface, and I've made one slightly bigger than the other. That's the base and that's the top, and I have folded half the hazelnuts in with this mixture, and the rest is here. These hazelnuts I sliced in a processor. Usually, in most recipes, it's ground. It makes it rather oily, and I find this much better. Now to the filling of them. I'm just going to put that on top for baking. That just gives a nice crunchy looking top. And you cook those, by the way, in a slow oven. Ovens do vary, and it wants to be slow, in fact really cool, and the simmering oven of an Aga. And it takes about 2 hours, but you can open the door and have a look and see how it's going on. It wants to be so that it will be this sort of creamy colour and will lift off from whatever paper you've put it on. Now I've spread that with cream, whipped cream. Then I'm going to put raspberries over the top. These are really lovely. They look a bit like autumn bliss. Nice firm raspberries. If you were doing this with frozen raspberries, you'd put them in just thawed if you were going to serve it fairly soon. If you were going to freeze the whole thing together, you'd put frozen raspberries in like bullets and put it straight back in the freezer. And now to putting the top on. This is rather brittle because it's got that nice squidgy centre, and so carefully put it on. And if by any chance it cracks and breaks, it doesn't matter at all. You can just carefully do it. So let it touch the cream there and let it go down on top. And you want to leave that to become a little bit more soft. Let some of the cream moisture go into it and leave that about 3 or 4 hours before you eat it.
Hazelnut meringue tart, filled with raspberries and cream, a real stunner. Red fruit salad can be served either hot or cold. It's a bit like summer pudding without the bread. Lots of different fruits and a little cassis too. I'm almost as passionate about gardening as I am about cooking, so when the garden's at its best in summer, it's good to share it one afternoon with visitors for the Yellow Book Days. That's the scheme where gardens are open in aid of charities. Chairs and tables are set out by the ash tree. My assistant Lucy puts up the notice about the teas, which we serve from 3 o'clock. And visitors always like the chance to take something home, so the herb specialists are here with plants to sell. And I need to make sure people know where to come for tea, which we serve in the courtyard outside the kitchen. We need 20 very best chocolate cakes, which were baked and frozen and now thawed. It's the best time to ice them. Everyone helps get things ready. We froze hundreds of scones as we're doing clotted cream teas for the very first time. The cream came in £2 lots, and I reckon that it'll do about 20 scones, £2. Main thing is to be very generous. Okay. Visitors can have Cornish cream teas with homemade strawberry jam, chocolate cake and sandwiches. These were made yesterday, and they're underneath here with all their crusts on, and I chose fillings that would freeze well. I then put a damp tea towel over the top, then clear film, and that tray fits neatly into my fridge, and I haven't had to do that today. One of the easiest ways to entertain is buffet style. Come and help yourself. And in the theme of the series, so much of the food can be prepared ahead, and in some cases frozen too. So here's the first recipe, mosaic of salmon en croûte. And this is strips of salmon wrapped in spinach with a mousse round it, then pastry around the outside, and when you cut through it, it looks like a chessboard. So take a single side fillet of salmon, 1.5 kilograms weight, but it must be from a big fish. So then cut 6 strips, and I'll just cut the last one here, and they should be nice and chunky. And then I'm going to wrap those in spinach at the moment. There's the tail bit, which I'm going to make a mousse from. So in the processor, I've got about 2 teaspoonfuls of fresh dill, 1 egg white, that'll make it all stick together. Then take all these trimmings and put them in the processor with a little salt and pepper. Again, a good amount of pepper. And then process until it's a nice paste. That's fine, a nice smooth paste. Let's clear some of the debris and on to the next process. So those 6 strips have been wrapped in spinach, and you need to blanch the spinach. First of all, I'm going to season the strip here
Pepper and salt all the way down. And then take large spinach leaves and blanch them, and that means bringing a pan of water to the boil and briefly dipping them into it, and immediately they'll go limp and they'll be manageable. And then you quickly drain them, run them under cold water. You might even find it easier to have the spinach leaves in the cold water as you lift them out to wrap them around, then they don't stick together. It's a nice neat job. And now to the next stage. I've rolled out the pastry thinly. I've got 350 grams of puff pastry, and you can see how thin it is, just a little larger than my baking sheet and long enough to take the spinach. So first of all, I'm going to spread this with mousse to make it stick. That's just about right. Then take 3 of the strips, and that was a good guess, wasn't it? And sometimes this is rather a thin one here, so next look along the line, there's a nice fat one to end up with. And then firmly edge those in, and then spread with the remaining mixture. Put that down. And when this is all you can get it to the stage of wrapping it in pastry and decorating it, you can do that 12 hours ahead, and that helps it to firm up before actually cooking it. You can also at that stage freeze it and freeze it raw. So it's a really good thing for a buffet, because you can plan everything ahead and get 1 or 2 jobs like this done. And then of course you would thaw it before cooking it. You can serve this hot, but it is really nicer cold. And then to the last 3. And I serve it with a herb sauce. And I make the herb sauce, it isn't always the same each time. I mix creme fraiche, and if you like you can use the low-fat one, with yoghurt and mayonnaise, not a homemade one usually, it's usually a low-calorie one. And then I add fresh herbs to that, leafy herbs like dill and parsley. Put that together and season it well, and it's really delicious. And you can make that ahead and let all the flavour of the herbs go in. Now, round the outside of the pastry, egg glaze. Don't use milk because it hasn't quite sticky enough.
Then fold the short ends of the pastry up and over. And the long edges up to meet in the middle. You could crimp the join if you prefer, as I did in the tuna recipe in an earlier programme. Or turn the whole thing over so that the join is underneath. Give it a pat and a squeeze to get it in shape. Decorate the top with a fish shape or letters which you have made from the pastry trimmings. And glaze with egg and chill in the fridge overnight, and glaze again before baking at 220 degrees, gas number 7, in the Aga on the floor of the roasting oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. You can cook this mosaic of salmon in plenty of time, up to 48 hours before serving and slicing. And as I said, it goes well with a herb and creme fraiche sauce.